Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good afternoon, good evening, and for some of you, good night. Because some of you are on the other side of the ocean, and it's actually in the middle of the night. So, welcome to all of you. Today, we are going to talk about how to self motivate when life punches us in the face. That's right. But I wanted to tell you something right from the start. We're not going to talk too much about self motivated. And by the end of this live, you will understand why self motivation, when life punches us in the face, is not the recipe that I recommend. Welcome, come in, take your time, have your question ready if you have any. I've already reviewed some of the private message and questions that have been sent to me, and believe me, you will get your answer as we go along. So, with no further delay, let's begin. Today, I want to ask you a strange question. How many of you have been punches in the face? I mean, a real punch, not a metaphor, the real fist, the real physical fist, a real impact, a real moment where somebody's hand meets your face. Because if you never experienced it, let me tell you what happens. Because you may not think about it. But the first thing isn't paint. Most people would think that when we get a punch in the face, the first thing we must think is, ouch, it must hurt. But no, it's not the first thing we have or that comes to our mind. The first thing is a shock. You are so shocked that you got the fist in your face that your brain freezes. It freezes for a moment. It doesn't even understand what just happened. It can't believe what just happened. Then it comes the heat, then the swelling, then the tenderness. And what's interesting is this: the punch lasts 1 second, the bruise lasts weeks. The punch is over in a split second. But every time somebody touched that spot, it hurts again and again for sometime months. And I think that is exactly how many people are living their lives. That's right. Most people are living their life with a bruise. And some of us, and most of us, have many bruises. Many bruises that when we still touch it, it hurts. And it's not because they're still being punched that they hurt. No, it's because they're still living from the old bruise. If any one of you are understanding and feeling what I'm talking about, it, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. I always read every comment that you give me. See, the title of this live is How to Self Motivate When Life Punches You in the Face. But the truth is, most people don't need motivation. They need healing because you cannot motivate a bruise. You cannot inspire a bruise. You cannot positive thinking a bruise away, right? A bruise needs attention. It needs care. It needs time to heal. And yet, emotionally, we do the opposite. We reject it. We betrayed it. We've been betrayed. We've been pushed away. We fell in life. We lost money. Or someone leaves us. Life punches us in the face all the time. And then we tell ourselves, get over it, move on. Yes, well, we even say to ourselves, stop being weak. Oh, you know what? You gotta be positive. Meanwhile, the bruise is still there. The bruise is still painful. And then there are the punches we don't talk about it, right? Some punches are physical, but most aren't. Somebody tell you you're not good enough. Bang, that's a punch. Somebody abandons you. Bang, that's another punch. You work for years and you don't get promoted ever. Bang, that's another punch. Your business fails. Another punch. You trust somebody for years and suddenly they betrayed you. Bang, another punch. And here's what happens, the punch ends, but the story begins. That's where suffering lives. It lives in the story, not in the punch. And in the story, it is what we make of it that lives. And the story is starting to say, oh, wow, the punch I got was I'm a failure. The punch I got is I will always be a failure. The punch says they left. So the story becomes nobody will ever love me. The punch says you made a mistake, dear. So the story becomes, hey, there is something wrong with me because nothing works. The subconscious mind stories and stores the stories forever until you decide to do something about it. It stores the event, of course, but it creates a story and it attaches everything else to that story. And after enough punches, those stories, they become the identities we are giving ourselves. We truly begin to believe that we are a failure, that something is wrong, that no matter how hard we love, we can never be loved. And you know what? Those stories, they stick and they becomes your identity. And it's not because they're true. It's because they've been repeated over and over and over. And the subconscious mind will record everything that is being repeated. And then, when it's been repeated a few times, it actually take it and amplified the story. And then anytime and every time there is something that happens in your life that resemble to the punch that you receive, it comes back. The subconscious mind wake up, ring the alarms, and said, oh no, we've been there, we don't want that, and we are going to back up. Or it turns around and cannot believe that it is going to happen again in its life, and it wants to just go for it. It wants to go for it to make sure that it's not going to happen. But the problem with that is that you go back to the same kind of story, to the same kind of event, that first event you had. So you go back with all the knowledge, with all the pain, with all the thought and feeling and emotion that you had experienced in the past. So you're going into a future, a new adventure, a new event with a background from the past. And that background was a solid punch in the face. So here you go, moving forward into the same, but exactly the same kind of pain. And somehow we keep repeating the same pain. We keep having the same pain over and over with a different environment, with different people. But at the end of the day, we still have the same pain because we have not healed that bruise. You see, why some people never, ever recover? You already know that I travel. I want to explain something to you. So, you already know that I have traveled extensively throughout my life. I've met people with almost nothing, family living in remote village, people living simple lives in the desert and remote communities. I've met wealthy people, wealthy businessmen, women, owners, millionaire with beautiful home and every luxury imaginable. And do you know what shocked me? Pain doesn't care how much money you have. A millionaire can feel worthless. A villager can feel fulfilled. A celebrity can feel abandoned. A farmer can feel peaceful because the issue is not what happened to you. The issue is the meaning your subconscious mind attached to what happened to you. That's why two people can live through the same event and come out completely different. One, because it becomes stronger, you see, and one becomes smaller. It depends how your subconscious creates the story. So, if the same event can be a strong motivation or a strong step into a future you, it means that somehow, somewhere, we do have the power to control the story behind the punch. You see, yes, a punch in the face does hurt. Yes, when you spend your life with people that tell you that you are not enough, that you are a nothing of a person, it is hard to come out of it. But it is not impossible. It is possible because it depends of you to create a different story. To take that story that they throwing you in the face, and instead of accepting that type of a story, you take it and you create your own story that will make you stronger. So just to have some fun here today, let me let's play a little game. Yeah, a game for you that I call the bruise test. I want you to think about something. Imagine somebody touched your arm right here, right now. Close your eyes and just visualize someone coming and touching your arms anywhere or anywhere on your body. It doesn't need to be your arms, but someone comes to you and touch you. Nothing happens, right? Everything is fine. The person touched you and nothing happened. Now, I want you to imagine somebody touching a fresh bruise you have on your body, in your face, on your arms, anywhere you want. Imagine someone touching that bruise with intensity and strength, putting pressure into that bruise. What happens? You react right away, right? You instantly jump away from that touch and you go, ouch. Why did you punch me? Why did you touch my bruise? It's hurting. Why? Why are you doing this? You automatically have this reaction because the bruise is sensitive and it stays sensitive until it truly heals. It's not because the touch was dangerous, right? It's the same touch as before when you didn't have a bruise. It did not hurt you, it didn't do anything to you. But when someone touched the bruise, let it be a fresh bruise or an old bruise, automatically you react because it's painful. So many people are reacting to life this way. They have been bruises. They are actually carrying a ton of bruise from their past life, from every punch they received. You're not strong enough. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You are stupid. You are a nobody. You will never amount to anything. All of those are punches. And they are punches that stays with us a lifetime. And we begin creating stories. And those stories, we truly believe in them. So, those bruises, those stories, even if we don't talk about it for years, the day our partner says something, we automatically react. Like if the bruise was still very fresh. If my boss says something, I will react. If a client says no, I will react. Not because what's happening, and not because it's a catastrophe that the client says no. No. It's because the touch is touching my bruise. And my bruise is still there. Even if the event that caused that bruise is 20 years ago, I still feel the pain when it is being touched, when it is being someone else that is saying something or doing something that is similar, that provokes the memory of those bruises. And sometimes, actually, we don't consciously remember the exact bruise or remember why we react the way we do. We just reacted like that, and with no explanation, we say, well, it's just the way I am. It's my identity. It's who I am. It's the way I am, and you're gonna have to live with me like this. But in reality, most of those bruises are stopping us from being who we truly are, and how we should experience our life, how we should be with other people, how we should be at work, how we should be in our home, in our family, with our family. What can we truly create of a life for us? Those bruises are stopping us. So, if you don't know where the bruises are, life feels dangerous all the time because you are all the time wondering when the next punch is going to come up. When is the next time that life's going to throw a curveball to you? I've heard some people saying, well, I must fell in between a crack in my life because everything that can go wrong always happened to me. It always me. I'm supposed to receive something because most people are receiving it. I'm not receiving it. It takes months for me to receive it. I go and I try to do my stuff and park and go to work. Well, somebody hits my car. Always happened to me. Everything, but everything keeps happening to them. And they truly believe that they are cursed. It's like Charlie Brown, right? The cloud above his head. But truth is that those are punches, those are bruises that you received in life. And instead of truly healing them, you just let them be on their own and you figure that, oh, it will pass. You know that some of the bruises are generational, right? Sometimes the punch wasn't even yours, you know? Think about it. A father was criticized every day when he grew up, and he grew up criticizing his son. Then the son grows up feeling inadequate, of course. Then he criticizes his daughter. Generation after generation, the punches gets passed forward. Yes, like an inheritance nobody asked for until one person decide, hey, that's it. The punch stopped right here with me. Not because life was fair, not because they weren't hurt. No, they were. but they stopped because they got fed up and they became conscious of the situation. And consciousness changed everything. So, what do we do? Right? Well, I have a two-step process I want you to try because it does help. And the step one is this one. We, all of us, because we all had bruise, we all had punches in our face from our environment, from our family. Sometimes we created the whole punch ourselves. So I want you to find one bruise. Begin like this. Find one bruise that still exists within you. Not the problem, right? The bruise, the pain. What still hurts within you? What still makes you react? What still creates fear? What still creates shame? Maybe it is a shame. It doesn't matter what it is. What still creates anger if that's what you feel, that you are always angry? Find the bruise which gives you the worst character or a way of being in your life. What do people say about you? Oh, you should improve your way of communication with other people. You're always harsh. Well, if that's what it's being said to you, well, it's because there's a bruise behind that. So find that bruise. That is where the healing begins, when we find the bruise. It does not matter the event that created that bruise. It doesn't matter the people that were around it that create that bruise, because that has no signification. What has a signification is truly the pain. And where the pain is still living within your body. You see, who caused the pain and how it was created? Okay, yes, it was a little bit important, but that is not the essence of the problem. It is where it's still hurting that matters right now. Back then, when it happened, if you would have had to deal with it right there on the spot, I would have said, okay, let's go with the event, with the people who created, and let's try to work on that so we create a better story. So the bruise will heal and will not hurt anymore, because the story behind that bruise is a story that we decide to identify with. See, what matters the most, it's the pain, the hurt that is happening to you right now, right here in your life. Why are you still reacting to some of the event that happens in your life? Why do you still feel that nobody is going to love you after you broke your relationship or the person you were with walk away from you? And the story behind that was, hey, I'm no good. Nobody is gonna love me because I am unlovable. Your business fell. You heard all your life that you were a nobody, that you wouldn't amount to anything. So, no wonder why. your business failed because somehow, somewhere deep inside, the bruise is still there and it is still hurting like if it happened yesterday. Change the meaning. That is the second step I want us to do. You found that bruise. One. I ask you to find one bruise only. Don't analyze it. Don't ask yourself where it comes from, who was there, how it happened. You just know that somehow you feel that you are unlovable. Somehow you feel that you are a failure. Somehow you feel that you are stupid or whatever. No matter what the bruise is, find that one bruise and just observe what we are going to do next. Because the next step I want you to do is change the meaning behind that pain. Not the event itself, no, the meaning. You cannot change the punch ever because the punch did happen and it's there. It's not something we can change. It happened. But you can change the story that you attach to that punch. You see, maybe that rejection wasn't proof you weren't good enough. No. Maybe it was to show you that it's time for a new direction in your life. Maybe that divorce was not proof you were unlovable. Maybe it was proof that you finally stop abandoning yourself. Maybe that failure was not evidence you were broken. Maybe it was a kind of a training, a kind of a preparation for what's coming up. Because what's coming up is 10 times bigger than what you were working on. You see, the event stays because we have no choice. It has been done, and that we cannot remove it. But we can work on the meaning we make of that punch. So instead of thinking and creating the story that that love of my life walk away from me, so I am unlovable, begin to see it as, oh no, it's because, in fact, that person was not truly the love of my life. It was an experience I had to go to it in order for me to prepare myself for the coming up person that will walking into my life, because that person will be it, and I needed to be ready and prepared to be able to live a wonderful life with that person. Same thing with a job. Someone is throwing you, is firing you. Bye bye, we don't want you anymore. So you feel useless, so you feel no good. So you begin the story saying, I don't have enough education. I can keep a job, whatever story, right? But we are good at that. We are good at creating stories that will feed what just happened in a negative way. Because the human being tend to always look at things in a negative way. I We justified what's happening around us by finding attaching story to it, and 98% of the time it is a negative story that we attach to it. That's how we do it. We keep attaching a story that will create a meaning that is painful. And it is a reflex in us. So when the meaning change, something magical happen. It's the nervous system that start changing it. That's right. The memory in your cell start to believe something else. Your nervous system is starting to believe a new story. And it's the story that you yourself are creating because you decide to heal the bruise. Take the bruise and create a positive meaning to it. So when the nervous system start changing, then the emotions, the feeling change as well. The future start changing, and everything else that comes into our life begins to resemble to the story, to the new story we have created. And because you react differently, life brings different results. So now, when somebody else comes in your life, throwing you a curveball, a punch in the face, no matter how you call it, but when someone comes into your life and try to put you down, suddenly you are strong enough to react differently. You are strong enough to have a different story attached to it. And often enough, the person who throw that punch falls on its butt itself. And in no time, they will stop attacking you because they will begin to see that you are untouchable. Nobody can just throw you a punch in the face anymore because you have created a different story, a positive story that gives you the strength and all the necessary that you always needed and wanted in your life. So you are finally able to stand tall and move forward with a great attitude. So, let's have a little summary here. So, today I want you to remember actually three things. You see, the punch lasts a second. Really, I mean, it's a split second, that punch in the face. The bruise, well, the bruise lasts a few months, right? It's sensitive and it's there and it's blue and it's violet for a few months. But the story can last a lifetime. That's what you got to remember. The story that you created after the punch. Because that story can last a lifetime with you. So you got to be careful what type of story you attach when you get that punch in the face, because it will stay with you until you truly decide to pay attention to it and consciously decide to change it. You see, most people are trying to motivate themselves when after the bruise, after the punch in the face. But they never try to heal the punch, the bruise. And we cannot motivate a bruise. We cannot positive thinking a bruise. It's impossible. So, most suffering comes not from the punch itself. It's not there, but the meaning that is attached to it is the pain, is what create the pains, is what create you to react and to spend 20, 40, 30 years reacting to that kind of a punch that you will keep receiving in your life. So, find the bruise, find the story that is attached to that bruise, and change the meaning. That's where transformation begins. So, if this conversation resonated with you, if life punched you in the face and you still feel the bruise, I want you to DM me the word punch. Just the word punch. My team and I will personally reach out to everyone who is here live within the next 24 hours. And if you are watching the replay, DM Punch too, and we will reach out to you within 48 hours. We will invite you to a complimentary conversation where I will identify one emotional bruise that's still affecting your life today and one practical step you can take to begin healing it. Because sometimes one conversation change everything. I'll leave you with this today. And listen, a seed buried in the sun can believe it has been buried, or it can realize it has been planted. You see, the experience is the same. You are buried in the soil, or you are planted in the soil. Same experience. You are a seed and you are in the soil. It's the meaning that is different. A punch can become a wound, or it can become wisdom. A bruise can become an identity, or it can become a lesson. And just like a flower doesn't grow because life is easy, it grows because it learned how to use everything the soil gave it. Even in the storm, even in the darkness, even in the pressure of the weather, it still grows. So, thank you for being here and take care of yourself. And remember, you are this beautiful flower. And maybe the soil you have been planted needs some fertilizer, needs maybe even a different soil. But that is the easiest part to do, to just have a different soil so that you can grow and be all that you can be. Bye. Have a great week.